The cry he hid in ink. I found the diary by chance. It was hidden under a loose floorboard in his room, behind old comic books. His name was written on the first page in a small, careful hand. Patrick. I sat on the floor and opened it. Age 10. He wrote in short lines. He wrote that I left for work before he woke. He wrote that his dad left early too. He wrote that sometimes we came home when he was already asleep. He wrote that dinners were eaten in the car. He wrote that he waited at the front gate until the streetlights came on. He wrote that he listened for steps that did not come. Age 11. He wrote about school. He wrote that boys pointed at his face. They call me names, he wrote. My hair grows on my cheeks. It grows too fast. He drew a face with dark lines where the hairs were. He wrote that the teachers did not stop them. He wrote that no one told the boys to leave him alone. He wrote that he tried to laugh, but the laugh fell thin. Age 12. He wrote about the bathroom mirror. He wrote about trying to shave. He wrote about small cuts and the sting of the razor. He wrote that he wrapped a towel around his face and cried. He wrote that he did not tell us because he did not want to make us more tired. He wrote that he thought our tired faces would break if he said too much. Age 13. His handwriting pressed deep into the paper. The sentences were shorter. One line read, "Sometimes I think it would be better if I were not here." I read it 3 times. I could not breathe. I had held his hand when he was a baby. I had sung to him at night. I had not heard these words. He called the feelings in his head stones. He wrote that he carried them every day. He wrote that he kept a long list of the ways we had failed him. He wrote that he hid the list in his chest until the right time. He wanted a time when we would listen. He wanted a time that he believed would finally be ours. Page after page held little things. He wrote that our phones lit our faces more than our smiles. He wrote that we talked about meetings and money and tiredness and thought that was enough. He wrote that he learned to speak less so he would not be a bother. He wrote about a boy who shoved him in the corridor. He wrote that the boy laughed when his book spilled. He wrote that the teachers looked away. My hands shook as I read. Each page felt like a small blow. I remembered the promises I had made. I will be there after this meeting and how they slipped into the next night. I thought of his father, of our arguments about time and bills. I thought of myself, walking past his room with my head full of work. That night I found him sitting on the sofa in the dark. He held a cushion to his chest. He looked smaller than I remembered. I sat slowly beside him. I did not reach for the diary at first. I reached for him. He watched my face when I said his name. He did not hide the way his shoulders shook. When I showed him the diary, he did not pretend surprise. He had expected I would find it one day. He told me he had been saving his anger. He told me he planned to bring it out when we were ready to hear it. His voice was soft, as if he was afraid even his words would hurt. He said he did not say the worst things out loud, because he thought we might leave if we knew how much he hurt. I wanted to explain. I wanted to speak of bills and overtime and the long hours at the office, but the words felt like excuses. I could see my tiredness written in his lines. I could see his father's absence there too. I did not try to explain away the small things I had missed. I read the pages aloud. I read the line about the stones. I read the sentence about wanting to not be here. He listened with steady eyes. He measured my face for something I could not yet give. "I am sorry," I said, and my voice broke. The word felt small for the space I had left between us. He did not throw his stones at me. He folded them back into himself. He let me pick one up, a tiny hard thing that looked like not much. I held it and felt the weight. We talked until midnight. He told me about the boys at school. He told me about the nights he tried to shave and how shame made him hide in the bathroom. He told me how it felt to stand in a room with his parents and feel alone. He told me the names they called him. He told me the times he had wanted to say things and had swallowed them instead. I promised then to change. I promised to be there in the small ways that matter. I promised to stop saying I was too busy. I promised to look up from my phone. I promised to call his teachers and ask how he was at school. I promised to be home for one dinner a week without my laptop. He listened but did not say he believed me. Change was not sudden. Old habits returned. I missed a meeting and came home late the next week. He flinched like an animal when the door voice sounded like the old kinds of late. I apologized. I tried again. I learned the shape of his silence. I learned when to ask and when to sit without speaking. Small things began to change. I learned how he liked his eggs. I learned his friend's name, Elias. He started to tell me small stories first. A joke in class. A silly thing Elias had said. He let me braid his hair some mornings, though he blushed when the boys at the gate looked. He wrote less about stones. He wrote more about small lights. One line made me cry on the bus. He wrote, "A boy laughed with me today." I did not hide that I wept. I had found my son inside pages of paper. I had lost time. I could not take the lost years back, but I could carry the rest better. Now the diary sits in my bedside drawer. Sometimes I take it out and read a paragraph to remember. I read not to punish myself, but to learn. Each page is a lesson. Each sentence tells me how he felt when no one saw. If this story presses hard on your chest, let it press. Let it move you to ask a question. Let it push you to sit a little longer. Children keep small signs. A silence. A cough. A bundle of comic books hiding a secret. Patrick is 30 now. He still has scars, but learning to move past it. He trusts slowly, but he lets I and his father come close. I will hold his diary like a map. It will remind me of where I went wrong and where I must go back. I will not lose my way again.